So if you are someone who is thinking about starting a homestead, or you're in the process of starting a homestead, I hope that this video will help. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we are currently documenting our journey of building our homestead in the Arizona desert. It is me and my husband and our 2 little children. Today I'm going to be sharing the 5 things that we wish we knew before we started our homestead journey. So the first thing is that homesteading takes a lot longer than you think it would. So everything, and when I say everything, I mean everything, takes longer than you expected would take. When it comes to building, fencing in the property, getting water, planting, even just making the decision of where you want things to go on the homestead, it's all going to take longer because you're going to make a plan, you're going to change the plan, then you're going to change the plan again, then you're going to set something up and possibly change it again. So it's just a whole evolving process. It's one of those things where you have to realize that homesteading and building a homestead isn't going to be a weekend project and then you're done. Like it is a slow build lifestyle. And I think that's something that Elijah and I had to grasp, because you know, the idea of homesteading, we had our plans, we had everything set, and we were like, we're going to do this, this, and this. But once you actually start the process, you realize, okay, this is going to take a little longer. We're going to wait a little bit on this. And so just the timeline of things has changed for us. And, you know, we started out and we were like, everything's going to be gung-ho, and you don't want to burn yourself out. And there are some days where we are happy that we got something accomplished, but then by the end of the day, we're like, okay, we're burnt out and we're exhausted and tired and we just want to go to sleep. So we did have to learn to take a step back and slow down and be like, it's okay that it takes us a week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks to build out our play area fence. It's okay. Like, it's okay. So we just had to remember to give ourselves grace. And I think if you're on this journey too, or thinking about this journey, just remember to give yourself grace as well, because progress is still progress. Doesn't matter how slow you go. Number 2 is going to be your land choice matters more than your Pinterest board does. When it comes to planning out your homesteading and thinking about where it's going to be, what you're going to do, it's fun to dream up the garden layout, the cute coop. And you have to remember that the land itself is what is going to determine the rules, basically. Before you buy, you want to make sure that you're looking at, first, accessibility. Can you get to it after it rains? Can you get to it in the type of car that you have? The next thing would be water. How do you plan on getting water to your land? Do you have a well on your land? Will you be putting a well on your land? How much will it cost to put a well? Are you going to be doing rain catchment? And if so, in the area that you're in, can you truly catch enough rain to live off of for half the year or the full year until you get your rain season again? If you're going to be hauling water, do you have the vehicle to haul water? Do you have the trailer to haul water? When you do you have a water hauling station nearby, or do you have to drive hours and hours just to go get water to haul it in? So those are those things to think about. And then another thing would be sun direction. It's kind of something that not a lot of people think about, but where the sun rises, where it sets on your land, because that will determine where you're going to be placing your house. Because you, of course, if you're in Arizona, it's hot. You don't want all your windows to be on the side that the sun rises on or sets on, because all that heat is going to come blasting into your house. Also, the sun direction will also determine where you put your garden, because you need to know how much shade that your garden is going to get, how much sun it's going to get throughout the year, to make sure you're not burning your plants or freezing them out because they're not getting enough warmth. And then also, if you plan on setting up a solar system, that's going to determine where your solar panels get placed on there. So the next thing also would be soil type. So you want to make sure your soil is something that you can work with, and if it's not something that you can work with, you have the money to work with it, if that makes sense. So is there a lot of sand to where if you plan on building, you know, you might have to pay an engineer to have a reinforced footer for your housing because of the sand that you're on? And then are you somewhere where it's super rocky, where if you try and dig a hole, it's going to take a lot out of you, or you're going to have to go and rent a bunch of expensive equipment just to dig a simple hole? So those are some things to think about when you are purchasing land. And then the last thing would be, how far are you from supplies and emergency help? So you want to make sure, some people like being out there in the middle of nowhere, so where it takes you an hour to 2 hours to get to town, an hour and 2 hours to get back. You know, that's people's priority. But when it comes to you and your homesteading journey, don't think about the immediate of what you need. You might be healthy as a horse right now, but down the line, you're going to be aging. And so can you age properly on your land and still have the help that you need or reach the supplies that you need? If you are a family with younger kids, they're going to have accidents. So are you within a reasonable distance of help or the things that they'll need? Because you know, the first few years of you starting your homestead, you're not going to be self-sufficient. You are going to still be relying on grocery stores. You're going to be relying on regular stores, everything like that. So just think of that over with the overall picture. The third thing would be to start smaller than you actually want to. You know, the whole point of us wanting to homestead or homesteading in general, as like I think I can speak for a lot of people, is that we want to be self-sufficient. We want all these things that come with self-sufficiency, our own food supplies, our own animals, our own space, our own buildings that we built. And that is great and all. In time, the full setup will come. We all want the full setup. We want the gardens, the animals, the orchard, but trying to do all of that at once when you first move out to your land is the fastest way to burn yourself out. So, you know, you want to start with one thing and you want to master that one thing. So maybe start a small garden, and when you get your garden up and running to where it needs minimal intervention from you, when I say minimal intervention from you, then maybe move on to the next thing. Get yourself a couple chickens. Once you are in that routine of your garden and your chickens, then just add on to that, because I feel like, you know, wanting to have a full-fledged, you know, giant garden with a bunch of garden beds, planting everything, and then you introduce chickens in that, and then pigs, and then cows, and then building, and it's gonna end up being too much. So just, you know, start small and master what you want to master before you move on to the next thing. And that's one of the key things that I think that would separate yourself from just building a homestead and then building a homestead that will actually last. So number 4 is going to be expect to make mistakes, a lot of them. So you're going to mess up. We all do. Plants will die, projects won't work, animals will outsmart you, and it's all normal. It's all a part of life. Just think of it as mistakes are not failures, they're lessons. And those lessons will end up making your homestead a lot stronger. I think the biggest thing is that you just have to be someone who's willing to learn from those mistakes, someone who is able to pivot, and most importantly, willing to try it again and possibly fail. And then the last thing, which is number 5, the lifestyle is going to be hard, but it's definitely something that's worth it. If you're patient, realistic, and willing to put in the work, homesteading will change you in the best way. I feel like creating a homestead and wanting to come on this journey, it's going to put you in situations that you never thought that you would be in, and allow you to gain skills that you never thought that you could gain. And so I wouldn't trade it for anything else, because it kind of pushes you to your limits, and it basically opens up the possibilities of that anything is possible. You can do anything, and all you can do is just try. And if you fail, like I said earlier, just try again. So if you are someone who is thinking about starting a homestead, or you're in the process of starting a homestead, I hope that this video will help, and I hope that it gives you a little bit of clarity and maybe save you a few headaches. If you want more tips, or you want to follow along on our journey and you are not already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you know every single time we post, because we are more active in our community tab now. And then also make sure you hit that subscribe button. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.